Camera 3. Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? It looks like we are live. We are live here on YouTube, an unscheduled live stream. We're going to try something new today. We're going to wait for a couple of people to jump into the room, and we're going to try something kind of cool here. We're going to spend a little time together. I'm going to try out a new segment. We're going to see how this kind of works, and I'm looking for some followers to kind of jump in the room and help out, and I'm sure you guys will show up because normally after 30 or 40 seconds, there's always people that are hanging out here and following me on YouTube, which is really, really cool. So what we're going to be doing, if you're watching this in the archive, this is kind of a new thing I'm going to be trying here. Hey, Johnny, how are you? Johnny Lipsham is here. Johnny, you're quick, man. I was going to fill you in on what I was going to be doing, but you kind of already know what the idea is because I've mentioned it to you before. We're going to try something new, and if this works out, maybe you can join me the next time and help co-host. I just want to try something. Hey, Tony, what's going on? Johnny and Tony are here. We got a couple of people watching. That's excellent. So this will all be in the archive. We're only going to spend about an hour or so. This will be part one of probably several parts. Hi, Nugget 2131. How are you? And what we're going to do and what I want to try is something that I've been thinking about for a while, which is how do we do things in a more interactive way? And we talked about doing live streams together, me taking questions and showing you stuff in Studio One, and that's all fine and good. But I had an idea, and I wanted to try this out and see how it's going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what I'm going to call, this segment will be called interactive mixing. And what that means is we're going to kind of mix together. Well, actually, I'm not going to do any mixing. You guys in the chat room are actually going to mix the song. We got 11 people here already. I'll say this over again for the people just joining up, but you guys are going to actually mix the song. We're going to pull the song up in Studio One. It's completely raw tracks. We're not going to mix the whole song today. We'll mix maybe just part of the drums. We'll see how this goes. And I'm going to give you guys a kind of a choice of some selective different types of plugins. You guys in the chat will kind of pick and vote and talk about, you know, what EQs you want to use, what compressors you want to use. And you guys are going to kind of direct me through the mix. And I thought this might be kind of cool. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with the chat and hear and watch all the comments. And that's why I may, the next time around, get my good buddy Johnny Lipsham to help me out with this, where he can monitor the chat. But I just wanted to try this and see how it would work and see how you guys would like it. And if you guys really dig this, and we could do this stuff more in the future. Now, this was an unscheduled thing because I only have about an hour and 15 minutes. I wanted to try this out quickly. If this kind of takes off and you guys are kind of liking this and it goes well, then we will actually do scheduled live streams where we do interactive mixing together. Does that sound like a cool idea to everybody? We got 13 people here. I don't know how many people heard my whole rant here, but we're going to try this. We're gonna try this interactive mixing and see how it goes. How's everybody doing? Randall's here, Richard's here, Focus Man is here, Johnny's here, Robbie's here. Raymar's here. Richard again is here. Okay, cool. Really cool, man. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let me go over here to camera number, I think it's camera number 3. And you guys should see Studio One with me in the bottom right-hand corner. Yes? Randall, how's it going? Tony Graham, how's it going? Cool. So you guys should see Studio One, and you should see, excuse me, you should see me in the bottom right-hand corner of that screen. And here is a session that I have here that I was going to be working on for probably a quick mix later in the year, probably November or October of 2017. I thought this might be a good song to try this with. So this is a song called I'm Coming Home by the Alan Evans Trio Band. It's kind of a funk it's a live tune. It was recorded live in like kind of a live club situation. I'm going to give you guys kind of a listen to it. And it is just something that is, now this is a long song. It's a long jam, and we're not going to listen to the whole thing. We'll listen to the first few minutes. But there's nothing on these tracks at all. There's no processing. There's no nothing. Let me just let you listen from the top of the song, maybe for the first couple of minutes, so you kind of understand what we're dealing with here. Then I'll walk you through the kind of the tracks and what we kind of have, and then I'll give you some of the ground rules on how we're going to do this. Does that all sound cool to everybody? 15 people watching. Okay, let's take a listen to the Alan Evans Trio Band. I'm Coming Home. Raw tracks, just imported them, just organized them. Here's kind of what we have. And let me know how the sound level is for Studio One coming over YouTube. It should be okay. It shouldn't clip, but let me know. If anything, I could probably turn it up a little bit, but I don't want to blast anybody out, and I definitely don't want to clip. Okay? So here we go.
If You Want My Love. And why wouldn't you? 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. Huh. Good, good, yeah. I said I've been standing here all night long, just trying to get your attention now. I say you don't have to go nowhere else. Right here with you and well only. If you want my love, all you gotta do is give it up. Alright. If you want my love, all you gotta do is give it up. Alright. Said I've been looking at you all night long, just trying to see if you want me. I said Lee, I've been with me, baby, 'cause I know. Alright, right here with you, you will only be there. If you want my love, all you gotta do is give it up. Alright, hey, if you want my love, all you gotta do is give it up. Alright, hey, so you can get me. Where you want me, baby, baby. When you need me, baby, yeah. All you gotta do, hey.
Okay, how's the level out there? Sounds good, right? Sounds like a James Brown tune. How is it? Sounds good? Sounds good, everybody? So that's pretty kind of a funky kind of a tune, right, man? That's a bad tune, right? We can work with that, okay? So now before we get into some of the ground rules, let me just show you what we got going on down here now. Set your resolution, if you can, to 1080p, because that's how you're going to get the best resolution for the plugins and for some of the detail on the screen. I'm running it at the highest resolution to hopefully give you as much detail as possible. And again, I'll say, have no fear if YouTube crashes and, dies on us like it did a few last month. This will all be in the archive. It will go up on YouTube by tomorrow morning. You guys will be able to watch it. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because if it crashes, then my mixing engineers are not going to be here to help direct me. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Okay, everything seems okay so far. Okay, we got to beef up the kick drum. Yeah, we're going to get there. Okay, so let's start off with what we got going on here. So down here in brown, we have our drum kit here. We have kick in and kick out, snare, toms 1 and 2, overheads left and right, room left, room right. Okay? Now remember, this is a live recording, so everything is bleeding into everything else for the most part. We have a bass guitar in blue. We have two electric guitar tracks, guitar 1, guitar 2. We have an organ left, an organ right, and then an organ low track. And then we have one vocal track, that's it. I've already kind of set up a busing system to kind of work with this. Drum bus, bass bus, guitar bus, keyboard bus, lead vocal bus. All the parallel tracks are in purple. The faders are turned all the way down. For YouTube purposes, I have the master fader set to mono because Wirecast only streams in mono, so you're not going to hear all the panning, but don't worry about that. This is just going to be for fun. Yes, and Richard, all the tracks, they're mono tracks. Yes, sir. Okay, so that's what we got kind of going on. And as you can see, as I extend the mixer, we don't have any plugins at all. I mean, I literally imported this, threw up the faders, and went, this would be a good idea for my followers on YouTube. See how I'm thinking about you guys? And that's all we really have going on there. We have nothing else happening on any of these tracks. Where are my sends here? I don't see my sends for some reason. Down here in the mixer view, they must be hidden, but we're not going to probably get to that today anyhow, but I'll figure that out. For some reason, the sends aren't showing up. Let's see what's going on this side. Yeah, we got them there. They must be hidden and collapsed down. Anyhow, doesn't matter. We'll figure that out later. Gain stage, no, nothing's really gained. Gain staging mean I threw up the faders and it's kind of a somewhat of a balanced mix. Gain stage, no, not really. We're starting from scratch. So here are the ground rules. Okay, you guys got to write this down because I'm only going to say this once. So we're not going to choose through 15 million plugins because we'll be here for an hour all trying to decide on what we're going to put on the kick drum. So we're going to give you a couple of choices. We can either use Presonus plugins, okay, stock plugins only, and or a combination of anything that's Slate Digital related. Okay, that's the only two we're going to use. We're not going to use waves and UAD and all Fab Filter because it'll just get too confusing, and I have to try to keep up with the chat. Now, here's the other thing. So, like, we're going to start off, and I may ask you guys a question and say, okay, what's the first thing we want to do here? We're going to focus pretty much on the drums today. We're not going to focus on the whole mix. It'll take way too long, and I don't have that long to work with this today. So for now, all we're going to do is solo up the drums, okay? We're going to work with the drums and try to work through the drums as best we can. So what I'm going to do is I'll ask a question about, what do we want to do here? What do we want to do there? I'll wait for the chat, try to get a couple of duplicate answers, and or the first couple answers that come through. And then whatever you guys tell me to do, I'm going to try to do. Does that make sense? And I know I'm going to need, I should have an assistant helping me out here. So I'm going to try to do this. I've never done this before. Be patient with me. I know I'm not going to be able to respond to every single person on here and get all your little things in here, but don't worry. As we get better at this, as I get better at kind of hosting this, if you guys really like this, we'll find a way to streamline this. And maybe I'll get, like I said, Johnny Lipsham in here to monitor the chat and help co-host this. But I just want to try this, okay? So let's start off. Everybody good with that? Okay, we got 18 people here. Cool. Everyone's cool. Okay, so we're starting off with drums only. Let's just kind of play a little bit of the drums. We'll loop a section here. We'll just loop a section. And we'll just hear what our raw drum sound kind of sounds like. And I'll try to balance it a little while I'm sitting here. Okay, that's our raw drum sound. I'm not going to do any panning because you're not going to hear it over YouTube anyway. Okay, so let me ask you, what's the first thing you guys want to do here? So we have Slate Digital and we have Presonus plugins only. What do we want to do to fatten up this drum sound? Do we want to just start with our kick drum? Is there something you guys want to put across all the drum tracks? We also have a drum bus we can do. You guys tell me, what do you want to do first? I'll wait a couple seconds. Do I have a standard drum EQ set up and panning? No, I don't have any EQ on this, Richard, at all. I have no panning. I have no nothing. I threw up the faders. You guys are going to mix the song, and all I'm going to do is just kind of follow your lead and try to make sense of some of the madness. So we got Slate Digital. We have Presonus stock plugins. Someone says, Jesse said, add the VCC as well. Well, we can add the VCC. We also can add the VTM. Jesse saying on each drum track. Is that a cool thing to do? You guys want to add the virtual tape machine, and do you want to add the VCC? Is that cool with everybody? Let's start off simple, okay? So let's start off with that because Jesse recommended that. That's a good idea. So should we put the tape machine first or should we put the VCC first? You guys tell me. Doesn't matter. There are no rules. We could do whatever we want because, we can. So what do you want to do? You want to put the tape machine first or do you want to put the VCC? And if we're going to put the virtual console collection, you guys got to decide what console you want to use. You want to use an SSL, a Neve, an API, an RC tube, a Trident. What do we got going on there? Yeah, we're going to compress a kick. Let's start off simple. So we got VTM and we have the VCC. Console into tape, Johnny says. Jesse says tape first. Raymar says the VCC first. Tony says tape first. Okay, so we got 4 answers there, and 3 of the 5 answers. 3 of the 5s have console into tape. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to drop the VCC. We're going to start off with the virtual mix rack, obviously, and let's hope this doesn't all crash. And I'll constantly keep trying to save here. Okay, so we got the VC. We're going to do this, and we're going to put the console into tape. So let's start off with our VCC, which is down here. What console you want to use? We got Neve, SSL. Okay, first 2 said Neve and then SSL. So let's go with the Neve, okay? Start off with the Neve. We'll group them all to one group so we can control the whole thing. All right, so we're going to go VCC. Let me just drop these on all the drum tracks. Now, you guys know if the mix turns out like crap, it's your fault, right? I'm making no decisions in this at all. I am not responsible for this mix whatsoever. I'm sure it's going to be great. This is going to be awesome. Okay, so we got the VCC. We're on the Neve console, and then we're going to go into the tape machine. So we're going to go into the tape, and we're going to put it on the 16-track setting. Okay, on the tape machine, do you guys want to use 15 IPS or 30 IPS per second? 15 or 30, what do you guys want to use? If you're not sure what the difference is, if someone doesn't know, just ask and I'll tell you what the difference should be sonically. But you guys tell me what you want to use. 15 IPs per second on each track or 30? Jesse says 30. Anybody else? Second, 30? Or do you want to do 15? Johnny says 30. 30 sounds good. All right, rock and roll. I'm going to pick the tape for this one. We'll take the FG456, which is a Memorex thing. And we're on the 16-track mode, so let me go ahead and let me add that to the drums. Okay, now, do we want to add anything to the drum bus at this point, guys? Or do we want to add anything to the master bus? Or do you just want to start processing the tracks like this? No, Richard, the VCC is not Presonus. The VCC is by Slate Digital. We can use Presonus stock plugins as well, or Slate Digital plugins. I'm giving you guys some options. But the VCC is a Slate Digital product, not a Presonus product. Okay, so do we want to do anything to the drum bus? Do we want to do anything to the master output at this point, or do we just want to start rolling with the kick mic? Top John approach. Johnny says, okay, Johnny, explain what that is to people so they know what that is. The Slate Monster plugin on the drum bus. Okay, we can do that as well. Anything else? Anything else got to go on the drum bus? Let's talk about just the drum bus to start. Do we want to put anything else, or do we want to put anything on the drum bus? Or except for maybe the Monster, which Jesse is auto-tune. We could do auto-tune. I don't use auto-tune, by the way. I don't have that. Drum bus. Any takers on the drum bus? No? Okay, we're going to move on. I'll ask a couple of times. If we don't get any answers, we're just going to move on. So I'm going to assume for now, nothing on the drum bus. Anything on the master out? Anything you guys want to put there? Tony wants to do some auto align and phase. Okay. Johnny wants to do EQ and compression on the drum bus. Johnny, is that what you want to do? Richard, EQ and compress. This is all on the mix bus. Compressor on the mix bus. Okay, great. On the mix bus, let's start with the mix bus. Well, let's start off. Let's also throw the VCC on there. Let's throw the mix bus part of the plugin on the VCC. What kind of mix bus compressor do you want to use? Or excuse me, what kind of drum bus compressor do you want to use? So we have a couple we can choose from Slate. If we want to use compressors, we can use the FG, what is it? The FG401. We can use the FG116. We can also use the virtual bus compressor if you want, which is the SSL, and we have the FG Mu or the FG Red, the Focusrite. We got the VCC on here. What do you want to put for a drum bus compressor? Because a lot of people have said drum bus. Raymar says the 1176. We can do that if you want to do that. Let's do that. That was the first answer. So I'm going to throw an 1176 on there, or their emulation of the 1176. We'll throw that right here. Okay, now for the 1176 compressor, how do you want to set up the attack and release? Slow attack, fast attack. On the drum bus compressor, slow attack, fast attack. Or we could start with a medium attack. It's up to you guys. You let me know. We'll do about a 4-to-1 ratio. We'll keep it kind of subdued. Jesse wants to put the Monster at about a 10% mix on the drum bus. Okay, we could do that as well. Let me find that plugin. Here it is. And right now we'll just kind of mute the Monster at this particular point because we haven't even done anything with drums yet. So let's do this first. Okay, so we're going to do a slow and a slow. Okay, so we're going to do a slow attack and a fast release according to the chat. Okay, cool. So slow attack, and we're going to do a quicker release, something like that. We can always adjust it, right? Okay, now so our drum bus is set up for the most part. We can always tweak it later. What about the main outputs? Do we want to put anything there before we get into the kick drum? Anything on the master out? Got 21 people here participating. This is great. Nothing on the master out. We don't have to put anything on there. You don't have to. Just asking while we're here. If not, we're going to head on down over to the kick-in mic, and we're going to start there. I'm going to play it back, let you guys listen to just it on its own. I'll turn it up a little so you can hear it. Okay, got a couple people saying tape machine on the mix, but on the master out. Okay, we'll do that. Let's do a tape machine. Good idea. We'll go over to the half-inch 2-track mode. 15 IPS, 30 IPS per second. What do you want to do on the master out tape machine, guys? Tony, what do you want to do on the master out tape? You suggested it. 30 inches per second, 15 inches per second. Does it matter? Do you want me to choose? We got the yep, Jesse, we got the VTM on the master bus. I'm just looking to see if you guys want to use 15 IPS or 30 IPS, or you guys don't care. I'm going to leave it on 30 for now, unless you guys tell me something different. 15, okay, 2 guys said 15, ready to go. All right, so that's what we got. So we have a tape machine on the master out. We have a, we have on the drum bus, we have the VCC, the 1176, and the Monster that we're going to tweak in. Okay, and on all the drum tracks right now, we have a console, which we're using the Neve into the tape machine. Okay, so let's start with everyone wants 15 on the tape. Okay, cool. That's what I set it to, guys. All right, so here is just the kick in, and I could turn this up a little. Let me know if it clips. It shouldn't, but just let me know. And then you guys let me know from an EQ perspective, what do we want to do here? Or do we want to compress first? You guys think about that. Here's the inside kick. If it's clipping, let me know. Okay, that's our inside kick. So Johnny said he wants EQ first. We'll use EQ first. Now, hopefully, most of you guys are listening to this on decent headphones or on studio monitors, and you're not directing us when you're watching this on your iPhone, because you probably won't be able to make really good EQ and compression judgments, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to EQ first. Okay, Johnny, you said it. What do you want to EQ with? What EQ? Do you want to use a Presonus EQ, or do you want to use a Slate Digital EQ? And if we use a Slate Digital EQ, we can use the Neve or the SSL. Got to deal with the boxy sounds. Okay, so what EQ do you want to use? Johnny Lipsham, that question is for you. You have a choice, Johnny. Door number 1 is the Presonus EQ. Door number 2 is going to be the Slate SSL, and door number 3 is the Slate Neve. The SSL, very good choice. So let's throw another VMR on here. And let's go ahead and let's throw the SSL on. You said SSL, right? Okay, so SSL. So now before we do that, let's just take a look at our, let's just go ahead and take a look at our, make sure we got the right, we're not driving this thing too hard. Nah, it looks all right. Okay, we look good there. Okay, we got our SSL EQ up there. What do we want to deal with? I don't know what you're hearing on your end. Where do you want to start? Give me some direction on this EQ. What do you want to do? We got the SSL EQ up here. We have a filtering down here in the bottom section. We have the low frequencies over here in blue. We have the low mids in green. We have the high mids in orange, and we have the highs frequencies in red. And both the low and the highs can either be shelves or they can be bells. So let's play back that a little bit more. You guys can make a decision on what you think we ought to do from an EQ point of view. Johnny, I'm going to let you make the first EQ call, and then I'm going to let Raymar make the second EQ call. We're going to try to keep this somewhat organized. Okay, Johnny wants to high pass the low lows out. Okay, so we're going to use this. Low lows, we'll get it around 20, 30 hertz, somewhere in there, Johnny. That's 500 hertz. That's too much, obviously. So let's just get rid of the real lows. How's 30 hertz? That sound good? Okay, so we got a filter on there. Okay, Jesse wants to cut the boxiness between 1 and 160. Okay, let's see what we can do there. So I'm going to start up here. Make this a bell. The low frequencies. See if we can get rid of that. That's around 169. That kind of a little bit of boxy sound. Jesse, how's that look? Now we're not going to use a sample, Tony, but good call. But we're actually going to work this thing, man. We're not just going to throw a sample on it. So that's around the 160 if we dial that out. Okay, we took out a little, around 6 dB at 160. We cut out, yeah, we did about 30 hertz on the filter, Johnny. That's good. What else do we need on this kick drum? What else do we need? Jesse, Tony, what do you want to do for the, what do you want to do? We're not going to do a sample. You want to cut, Jesse wants to cut a little around 500. We can do that as well. I'll probably have to throw, we'll have to throw another instance of this thing on here. No, I could do that here. So we're going to narrow this Q a little bit. Let's see if we can get rid of some more of that 4 to 500. Okay, we're taking out a big chunk at about 520, rolling it all off. It's getting a little bit better. What else do we need? We need some thump. Raymar says between 60 and 80. Does that sound good? Let's try that. I'm going to have to put another instantiation of this on here, which is no big deal. Let me get another. We got to get some thump, right? So we said between, what do you say? Between 60 and 80? I did about a 500 hertz cut, Tony, already. So let's see if we can get some beef in here. Around that 60 mark, let's see what we got. Looks like the fundamental frequency is right around 70. It's not quite 60. It's not that. But we have a kick out mic too. This is a kick in mic, remember. So we're boosting up around 6 dB. You're right around 72 hertz. What else do we need on this kick drum? Do we need anything else? We cut out the 4 to 500 range already. We filtered out the super lows at around 30 hertz. And we added a boost at right around 6-8 dB, right around 70 hertz, which seems to be where the fundamental is. Sure, I can A/B that, Richard. Good idea. So here is with the EQ, and I'm going to just bypass the entire plugin. That's before. That's after. Before. After. A little better. Okay, Jesse's saying to, let's see, put the kick out in now to fill out the thump. Okay, so let's move over to the kick out mic. That's a good idea. All right, so let's go over to the kick out. Let's kind of lower the kick in, and let's see if we can get a kick out to be making a little bit of thumpity thump, and then we'll EQ them and we'll see what we got. Here's just the kick out. Let's take a look at the VCC here. Make sure we're driving it good enough in the tape machine. May even be clipping a little bit on you there. Lower that a little bit. Okay, we're going to use the same EQs. Is that what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead and we're going to use the SSLs again. I'll just copy it over here and I'll just turn one off. Okay, so let's start with rolling. We can start the same way. We can. I'll just set that back to kind of the. I'll just set it back to default. Okay. So on our first EQ, we're going to set them both back to default, right? Just so we can start from scratch on this particular one. I'll turn off that one here. Okay, so now this is the kick out mic. Same EQ, Johnny says. And then Jesse wants to EQ them together. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we EQ this one separately? I can put this on a bus to kick in and kick out together, or on a VCA, and we can then do some final EQ. Okay, so let's do the same EQ that we did on the first one. That was Johnny Lipsham's recommendation. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me just pull up the first one. I can just copy and paste the settings. Right? Yes, I can just copy these and I can paste them into the kick out. All right, so here's the same exact EQ settings on the kick out. No kick in mic playing right now, just the kick out. So that's just the kick out. It's before. After. Guys, Johnny said he meant the same plugin, not the same settings. Okay, if you want to do something different with the EQ settings on this kick out mic, that's cool. Just tell me what you want to do. Just in review, we put a high pass filter, or excuse me, a low cut filter at about, let's see, where it said about 30 hertz on this one. We're going to do about 30 hertz. Let me bring that down. We have a little bit of a cut at about 160, about 6 dB. And then we have a huge cut at right around 500 hertz. We took out about 15 dB, get rid of a lot of the boxiness. That's on the first EQ. On the second EQ, right around 70 hertz is where we have a little bit of a bump, about 6 dB. And we can see if that thump is at a different fundamental frequency. We can fool around with that. That's still right around the same. It's right around 70 hertz. Now, if I bring both kicks in together, you want me to do a 500? Yep, Jesse, you want to do a high pass filter at about 500 on this second one? Okay, let's see what we can do. So if I roll it all the way, let's see, I can use this as a shelf. That's only going to go down to 1.5, but what I can do, we can use a different EQ for that if you want. Let's try bringing in the other microphone, and let's see what we have together here. Do a save. So here's both microphones. Let's check out our drum bus and see what we're doing there before we make any more EQ decisions here. Okay, we're doing okay here on the VCC. We're not compressing anything yet. Oops. Don't want that monster on there yet. So here's kind of the blend between the two. Now what we can do is we could put them on a VCA, right? We should be able to do that. Silly me. Hold on. Oh no, we don't want to do a VCA because we can't EQ them that way. Let's remove that. Let's just do a bus. And then we can look at some other EQ. So let's go over here, kicks. Do we want to do some, you still hear some hollowness, Tony? Yep, you do. Let's put another EQ on there. Would you guys like to try a different EQ to kind of shape these two kick drums together? Do you want to try something different? Do you want to try like a Presonus EQ, something where we can actually do some, so we can do some shaping of these two kick drums? What EQ do you want to use on this little kick bus that we have here? Richard, thanks for stopping in, man. Have a nice night. Go watch us in the archive. If you have to take off, no big worries. So what do you guys want to do here? You guys good with this kick drum sound EQ-wise, or do you want to go ahead and want to try something else? Let's get the Pro EQ on there, Johnny says. Okay, let's try that. Pro EQ, Pro EQ. Here we go. Okay. Well, we could see where all the buildup is. Let's go ahead and see if we can get rid of some of that ringing you guys were talking about, right? Let's start it right around 500, and let's narrow this a little bit. And let's see what we can come up with. I'll widen the Q a little bit here. We can get rid of that nastiness, right? That's at around 230. Let's pull that way out. And let's sharpen the Q a little bit. Cut some of the highs, Tony says. Good idea. Let's do a, why don't we do a shelf? Is that cool, Tony? What if we do a shelf? We'll do like a 12 dB shelf here. And let's see if we can roll this thing way. That's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted. It's this one. There we go. We'll do like a 24 dB per octave. So we're rolling off about everything over 3K. How's that, Tony? If we go anything lower than 3K, we're going to lose all the beater altogether. Hey, Smoke, good morning from Japan. How are you? Good to see you. We're doing some interactive mixing here today. That snare is coming through. Yes, it's bleeding. It's a live recording. It's a live recording. We got to compromise. We can get rid of most of that snare if we roll off a little higher. Right around 2K. We can try to give it a little bit of beef if you guys want. We could try to beef it up a little more. It's just got a nasty ring to it. It just does. Anything else you guys want to do? So we have, this is on the kick bus. We rolled off all the highs at about 3K, about 2K. We took a big cut out at around 235 hertz to get rid of that ringing. And we even cut a little bit out at 93 hertz because it's just ringing, ringing, ringing. What else do you guys want to do to this thing? No, it's a live recording. It's not a very good recording. So this is part of the deal. So you guys are mix engineers. The client sends you this. What do? And let's assume for a second that you don't have samples, because I would replace this with a sample. But what if we don't have samples? What do? Right? These are some of the problems that we find when we're not working with perfectly recorded tracks. This was a live situation, so it is what it is. So what do we want to do? Jesse says still needs to cut a little higher, around 400. Sure, we could do that. Or we can try to do that, right? Why not? Let's see what else we got way up there. There's right around 400. But you got a much more nasty ring at about 900. Gating, it's not going to work in this, I can tell you that. Oh, Mark, you got an SL16 Series 3. Cool, good for you. So that's kind of our kick drum. Yeah, Johnny, you're probably right. Let's move on to the snare drum, right? Because, you know, in context, we might be able to deal with it. We're listening to this in solo, okay? So let's go ahead and let's just hear where we started. If I just were to take all the inserts off, here's what we started with. That's kind of our beginning point. And that's our after point. So now let's move on to the snare. I think that's a good idea. Snare's recorded a lot better, yes? Okay, this will be a little bit easier maybe. So we got tape machine. We got some VCC happening here. Okay, what do we want to do to this snare? Do you want to EQ first? Do you want to compress first? I didn't even talk to you about compression for the kick drums. No one even mentioned it. So we can leave the kicks the way they are for now. We don't have to compress them at all if you don't want to. We're on the snare drum now. Do you want to do EQ, compression? What do you want to do first? Remember, Presonus or Slate Digital Slate Digital plugins only. We are on the snare drum. What are you guys hearing in the snare? Okay, we're going to do some EQ, some fatness around 240. Okay, Raymar, what kind of EQ do you want to use? Want to use a Presonus EQ or do you want to use a Slate Digital EQ? What would you like to use? You tell me and I'll throw it on there for you and we'll start looking for that 240 frequency for you. What EQ? What EQ? Want me to stick with a Presonus EQ? We can do that. Okay. Okay. I'm going to use the Presonus EQ. Okay. So we're going to EQ it. We're going to be looking for what around 240, you thought? Okay, cool. There we go. About 225. Got some fatness there. Before. After. Got some fatness. Good call on that. I already used a Presonus EQ, so we're gonna stick with the Pro EQ for now, okay? Raymar, we'll do the SSL and something else. Roll off the lows, Tony says. Sure, let's do a high pass filter. Low cut filter, high pass filter, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Around 90 hertz maybe. Okay, Jesse wants a little boost at the 5K. Your wish is my command, Jesse. Let's do it. And now we got a snare that's happening. Okay, let's do a comparison. Before. After. Good job, guys. Sounds pretty good. Good call. Okay, we got some good EQ there. Let's not mess with that too much. You guys want to compress it now? Or do you want to just let the drum bus do all the compression? What do you guys want to do? Good call on that, Raymar. Good call on the EQ. That was good. And Jesse, good call. What do you want to do on the snare? Do you want to compress it, or do we just want to let the drum bus do all the compression here? Because we didn't compress the kicks either. We didn't compress the kicks. We don't have to worry about compression right now if you don't want to. You guys tell me. We can go down to the drum bus and just see what the kick and snare's doing. We haven't done anything on the bus compression. Johnny's saying okay. We're not even using this compressor yet, so let's turn on the 1176. Let's pick a preset. What the hell? And we'll start there. What do we got? Anything good here? Drum bus vintage big. That sounds like a good preset, yeah? really slow release. Let's speed that up a little bit. We're going to do 100% mix on this. Kind of level match it a little bit. So we're doing about 3 dB, 4 dB of compression. Got to kind of level match. We're doing a fast release and a slow attack. Does that work for you guys? Light compression on the drum bus. That's what we're doing, about 3 dB. That's about all we're doing for now. So you guys want to leave that alone? We don't have this monster on yet. Let's wait a little bit on that if we can. 2-to-1 ratio. The lowest this goes on this particular compressor, Jesse, is a 4-to-1, not a 2-to-1. So the FG116, which is the 1176 emulation, 4-to-1 is the lowest ratio we can do. So we're doing a 4-to-1 ratio. We can compress it even less if you wanted me to turn down the input a little. So maybe we're just kissing the needle. Yeah, about 2 dB. Cool. Okay, let's move over to the overheads. Let's because the toms, there's a ton of bleed in there. Let's start with the overheads. So we got overhead left, overhead right. Why don't we let's take a listen to both of those kind of together and see what we got. My recommendation here, because we're dealing with YouTube too, is we can let's put this on a bus, the overheads on a bus, and let's just process these together. Is that okay? So it just makes it easier. Let's add a bus channel, and we'll call this overheads. Okay, and we'll just send this on over there. The OHs, and we'll just send that over there. Let's just check our tape machine. Okay, so there's our overhead. So what do we want to do to these overheads? What do we want to start with? Let's see. Sounds good. Johnny says bus on those overheads. That's what I did. I got a bus for the 2 overheads left and right, so we can just process it all on one track, but we still have the console and we still have the tape machine on each separate track. Make sure the kick and the overheads are going, make sure the kicks and the overheads are going to the drum. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Kicks and the overheads are going to the drum bus, right? You kick. Let's make sure that that's right. I could be wrong about that. That's got to go to the drum bus. You are absolutely right, Johnny. See, good thing you're here, because if you weren't here, what the hell would I do? Okay, so now we got our overhead bus here. What do we want to do here? Raymar says we want to put a little Pro EQ. Overheads 200 hertz. You want to boost 200 hertz, or you want to cut 200 hertz? Take out the lowish and the high pass. Tony says, okay, let's get the Pro EQ up here. A couple people said that. Let's do that first. And you were talking about, let's see, Tony says EQ, take out the lows with a high pass. Okay, let's see what we got. Let's start with that. Rolling off about 120 hertz. Is that good, or you guys want to roll it off higher and just kind of focus on the cymbals? You tell me what you want to do. Or do you want to get more of the beef of the snare in that overhead mic? What do we want to do there? And I see Raymar says he wants to do something with around 200 hertz. I'm assuming you mean you want to boost 200 hertz, not take away. Does that make sense? Anything else on the overheads you guys want to do from an EQ perspective? Johnny says he doesn't want to compress because we got a mountain full of bleed. That's true, Johnny. We do. This is a live recording. Got to treat it a little bit differently. Got to tame those cymbals. Would only use a little of the overheads in the mix. Yeah, I got them overheads turned up a little higher just so you guys can hear it. I can mute the kicks and the snares if you want to, or do you want to do it all in context? You know what? Let's mute the kick and the snare just because, so you guys get just a better feel. Here's just the overheads playing. Okay, what would you guys do there? Those are our overheads. Those are only the overheads. What would you do with this EQ? We already rolled off about 120 hertz on the low end. Anything else you guys want to do? Anything else you want me to kind of try? What do you want to do? Now we're going to go to the rooms, and then we're going to wrap up this particular video because it'll be about an hour at that point. I want to keep these in small chunks. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Are you guys having fun? We're just kind of winging it. Is this kind of cool? Cut a little at 2K, Johnny says. Okay, let me go find 2K. Okay, 5 dB at 2K. Snare sounds great in the overheads, but the cymbals kill it. Okay, well, what do you want to do, Jesse? You should roll it off higher frequency because you boosted the snare EQ, right? Smoke, yep, that's right. You want me to roll off a little bit higher? I can do that. Now I'm rolling off right around 200 hertz. Hi, Tim. How are you? Thanks for joining. Tony. Oh, Tony says love it. Okay, cool. Okay, so how do these overheads sound? I'll bring in the kick and the snares if you want. I can lower them in the mix. Okay, remember the hi-hat's being picked up by the overheads. There's no hi-hat mic. Let's see, Raymar says 7.5 to 10K for a little sizzle. Oh, on the overheads, you want to do a little bit of a boost? Okay, let's try that. I'll do it in context with the mix, okay? Just so we can kind of gauge it, but I'll turn up the overheads a little bit. It's right around 9K. That's before. These are just the overheads before the EQ. That's after. Kick and snare. Sounding pretty good on this end. How's it sound to you guys? Sounding pretty good. How's it sounding you guys? Yeah, the tom sound, we haven't worked on the toms yet. We're just, yeah, the toms, this is in the overhead mics. So that's our overhead sound kind of in context with the kicks and the snares. You guys cool with moving on to the rooms? We'll do the same thing with the rooms. Do you want to do any kind of compression on this, or do we just want to, again, just let the drum bus do this? I think someone mentioned don't do any compression on these. Let's see what we got. Still only compressing about 2 dB, just about 2 dB. Okay, not too much here. Let's see. Johnny says the snare is a little dark, and Raymar seems to concur with that. Not bad. Need some top end and back in the kick track. Bus for now. Okay, so we're going to leave the compression on the bus. Let's see. Johnny said the snare is a little dark still. Well, let's go over to the snare mic. I give it a little more beef here. How's that? A little more top end on the snare. You guys happy with that so far? Do you want to move over to the rooms? We'll move over to the rooms for now. Let me set that up. We'll put that on a bus as well, again, just to keep it simple. Oops. Let's see what we got going. Oops, wrong. Jeez, I'm clicking all over the place here tonight. Bus channel. Okay, let's do rooms. Make sure that's going to the bus because I don't want to forget to do that. And then we're going to bring the rooms over to the room bus. Rooms. Okay, so I'm going to lower the overhead just a tad if you guys are cool with that. I'm going to raise the rooms a little bit so you guys can hear that. Okay, what do you guys want to do to the rooms? And then we'll go back to the toms. We're on the room track. We can go back to the toms. How much does the YouTube change the sound? I don't know. Hard to tell. A little bit. It's not going to be like you're sitting here in the room with me, but it's close. I mean, for what we're doing, for practicing and what we're doing together is fine. Let's see. We're on the rooms here. So we're going to do some EQ here first. We're not going to compress because we haven't compressed anything else. So do we want to go back to a Presonus EQ for the rooms? Or do we want to try something from Slate Digital? What do you guys want to do? And we'll put it all on the room bus just to keep it simple like we did with the overheads. What do you guys want to do? High pass filter on the rooms. Yep. What EQ do you want to use? You want to use a Presonus Pro EQ? Or do you want to use something from Slate Digital? Jesse, what do you want to do? You tell me, my friends, and we will do it. We'll put a high pass filter on the rooms. You just got to tell me what EQ you want to use. Presonus, the future says. Yeah? Okay, let's do that. And we'll put a high pass filter on for Jesse. Okay, Pro EQ Jesse. Okay, cool, let's do that. I'm rolling off at 130 hertz. Do you guys want a real, how high do you want me to go? How high do you want me to go? Do you want to hear part of the low end of this room, or do you want to roll all that out and you just want me to get up above 200 here? What do you guys think? I'll play it back and I'll sweep around. There's 200. Sounds good there, Jesse? Around 200? Okay. Anything else you guys want to do to these rooms? We're rolling off at 200. Sounds pretty good. You got rid of the real low-end rumble. Let's see. Okay, sounds good at 200. Anything else you want to do? Anything else you guys are thinking? What do you hear when you hear these rooms? What do you hear? What are you guys hearing? Or do you just want to leave it like that? We can leave it like that too. This is your mix. We can do whatever you want, guys. It's totally cool. There's no right or wrong answer. It's all in the spirit of working together and learning. Clean out that mud. Okay, what would you do there? The future, how are you? I don't think you've been to one of my live streams before, have you? I don't recognize the name. If not, welcome. Thanks for joining. Jesse says, leave it. Balance the room to the drums. Leave it. Okay, I'll leave it. I won't cut anymore. Let's just balance these. Let's balance the overheads of the rooms to kick in the snare, right? Let's do that and see where we're at. Okay. Oh. Not what I wanted to do. Okay, is that a good balance between the rooms and the overheads to kick in the snare? Jesse says the inside kick needs a little more click. Okay, hold on. You guys like the balance so far between the rooms, the kick, and the rooms overheads, kick and snare? Let's start there. Are we pretty good there? Raymar says it sounds pretty good. On my end, it sounds okay. Sounds like it's balanced fairly well. What do you guys want to do? You want to move anything? You want the rooms to come up or down, or the overheads to come up or down? Are you guys pretty happy with the way it sounds? If you guys are happy with the way it sounds, we could take a look and tweak a few other things. Tony says, perfect. Smoke says, a little louder. I could turn up the overall volume a little bit. That's not a problem. There you go. Tim says it's good. Let's go down to the bus. Okay, we can go to the toms now. You guys seem like you're pretty happy with that. We're still compressing about 2 dB. We're not compressing a lot. Let's see where we have a couple of tom hits in here and to see if we can kind of find those to just kind of make this easy. Tom 1, Tom 2. Does he do a roll? I wonder if he even hits Tom 2. Yeah, he does. There's one place I think where he or she hits it somewhere in here. Okay, so we have Tom 1 and Tom 2. Let's just start with Tom number 1. And to make this easy so you guys can hear it, I'm going to mute the kick, the snares, the overheads, and the rooms for now, because you won't be able to hear this tom, I don't think, on its own. Let's see what we got. So that's kind of what we're dealing with, that kind of a ringy thing happening there. Let's see. Let me bring the loop back a little bit. Okay, that's our tom. We want to start with some EQ. What do you guys want to do? Let's see. We need to boost a little 5K. We got a little ring there. Yeah, we got a lot of ring there, Tony. A lot of ring there. That's for sure. Let's see. Can you give me a little more kick on the 50 hertz on the kick? Yeah. I will. Remind me. Let's do the toms and we'll go back. We'll tweak the kick. Let's do the Pro EQ because that seems to be the easiest, the one most people are familiar with for this tom. So let's do that. Okay, here's the Pro EQ on tom number 1. Want to add around 120 to 240? Okay, let's try that and see what we got. Here's around 200 or so. Gets a little bit of a boost at about 200. Someone asked for. How's that work for you? Boost around 5K. We can try a little of that. That's an easy one. Okay, so we got a boost at 5K and we have a boost at 200. Yep, there's a lot of bleed and a lot of ringing and a lot of out-of-tune drums. That's what you get in a live situation. But hey, we got to deal with it, right? We're engineers. This is what was given to us. So what are we going to do? We got to make the best of maybe not such a great situation, right? Jesse says cut around 500. Okay, Jesse, let's try that. There's 500. There we go. High pass filter around 180. Sure, let's try that. 24 dB per octave, 180, huh? That's gonna get almost into our boost. That's okay. Here's around 180-ish. Okay, let's go before. Here's before. Here's after. Yep, Jesse's right. We got rid of that ring. Good call on that, Jesse. How's that sound? As good as it's going to get for what we're doing? Close enough for rock and roll? Too far? Maybe around 150? Sure, Johnny. Let's try that. There's 150. Okay, Jesse, I did around 400, narrowed up the Q a little bit for you. Good call, good call. Yeah, we got rid of that ring a little bit. It's still there, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. That was a good call, Jesse, good call. Not too bad. Okay, so we got this tom now. Let's go over to tom number, what the hell were we working on? Tom 1? Let's go to tom 2. Okay, hold on, let me see if I can find a tom 2 hit somewhere. Oh yeah, here we go. Not a lot of tom hits in this song. That one sounds a little bit better than the first one, that's for sure. Okay, let's check out our console. Let's check out our tape machine. I'll drop the EQ on there for you. Okay, what do we want to do to this one? Oh, did my screen go away? Sorry, hold on. Hold on, did my screen go away? I might have hit the wrong button here. Sorry, hold on. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I clicked on the wrong thing. You guys good now? All right, so we're on tom number 2. Yeah, I didn't mean to change the screen. Sorry. You guys are attentive, man. I'm so glad you guys are paying attention. Somebody's paying attention. All right, here we go. So we're on tom number 2, which sounds a hell of a lot better than tom number 1 on its own, but let's see. What shall we do? Tom number 2. Johnny says it sounds pretty good already. It does. It sounds a lot better. We can do something to it. We can leave it alone. We don't have to do anything to it. You know, a lot of times what happens is, and this, we all fall into this trap. Everyone, you know, you hear a track and it sounds really good. You don't necessarily have to do anything. We don't have to EQ. We don't have to compress. You know, we don't just slap it on there because it's there. Let's have a purpose, right? So we could try something. You want to try a high pass filter? Okay, let's try that. Around 70 hertz. That's kind of the default is like around 70. So let's 70 hertz. And we'll stay at a gentle curve. Cut a little 500, Jesse says. High pass filter done. All right, let's try that. Let's do a little 500. Let's see if we can find a ring, if there's a ring anywhere. About around 520. I can pull that out a little. Good call on that. Johnny says, sorry, 50 hertz. Okay. I'll do a steeper roll off for you there, Johnny. Here's before. After. Not bad, right? Sounds okay. Now let's hear that in the context with the mix. Let's see if we can get that fill to kind of come in with the kick snare overheads. Let me go back to this other camera. Why is this thing switching on me like this? I must be doing something incorrect here. Or I must just be clicking in the wrong space. I'm sorry, guys. Let me go back here. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is kind of our drum mix. Yes, sounds pretty good, not bad. Let's unmute everything and let's just put everything back. Kind of balance it out a little bit, and then we'll go over to the drum bus again and see what we have. All right, so here's kind of where we're at with our drums. How you guys liking the sound of the drums? Raymar says, yeah. Okay, you guys pretty happy with the drums? Most people say yes, it sounds better. It does sound a lot better than what it did, that's for sure. Drums sound very nice. Okay, excellent, man. So that's good. So we're at about an hour, a little over an hour. I got to kind of wrap it up, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back on maybe tomorrow or the next day, and we'll go ahead and we'll work on the bass and the guitars if you guys are really liking it. So let me know, did you guys really like this? Was this cool? Was this a cool thing? Kind of a cool new segment? Let me go back to the next camera here so you guys can kind of see me here. Okay, there we go. So was this kind of cool? Was this kind of a good idea? You like this kind of interactive mixing where we can kind of work on things together? Again, I'll get a little bit better and get it a little more smoothed out. And I thought, you know, if we do this every month, or I don't know, a couple times a month, I'll try to come up with a schedule if you guys are into it. And then every time we do a new track, we'll use different plugins, right? This time we're using Slate and Stock. Next time we'll use Universal Audio and Waves, and we'll go around and we'll use some stuff. And we'll learn together. And the great thing is that you guys are the ones that mix this. And then once we mix the whole song, maybe what I'll do is I'll throw it up on the Facebook page so everybody can hear what the community had done together as far as the mixing goes. And I promise I won't tweak it. I won't touch it. Your mix will go up as your mix, your guys' mix, our mix. So is that really cool? Excellent. Everyone's saying this is great. Awesome. Thanks. No, thank you for joining. We have 20 people. This is really cool. I do appreciate the input. We got a pretty happening drum sound. Not bad, right? For a live recording. I picked this recording for a reason because I knew there were going to be some trouble spots in it. And I wanted to do that purposely. I don't want to always bring perfectly recorded tracks because then we don't get a chance to experiment and learn anything together, right? So it's kind of good we have some problematic things happening. So, hey, Andy, how are you? Thanks for joining. And if you guys came late and you don't know what the hell we're doing, go watch this in the archive. It'll be up there tomorrow on Sunday, sometime in the morning, or maybe even later tonight. And you guys can check it out. But basically, we're going to do this new segment if you guys are kind of digging it. You know, called interactive mixing is what I'm going to call it, where I'm going to get on YouTube here and we're going to mix the song together. I'm going to give you guys some different options on different plugins, and you guys are going to direct me like we did today on what you want to do on each element of the mix, and we'll kind of work together and mix the song together, and we'll learn from each other, and that's just what this thing is all about. And then as we progress, you know, we'll get a little bit more fancy. We'll do some different things. So that's what this was all about. If you're coming in a little late, go watch the replay. You'll see more about it. Today we worked on just the drums. Next time we'll work on bass and guitars, and then we'll work on the organs and the vocals as a separate video. So we have 3 separate videos, so not one video is 5 hours long. So anything else, any quick questions you guys have? Was the sound okay overall? The Studio One sound, was the levels okay? Let me check out the chat up here and see. I think it was, or else you guys would have said something. I'm getting a little bit better at getting the levels right. I think you guys did a great job. A lot of good calls, a lot of good suggestions made here. That's okay, Andy. If you were late, no big deal. Not a big deal at all. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to wrap it up because I have another student. I have to do a private training session now. I don't want to be late. And I will post this up on YouTube, and stay tuned for when, I don't know when I'll jump on again, maybe in the next couple of days. And if you guys miss it, don't worry about it. You can watch it in the archive. And then what we'll do is we'll schedule these if we move forward with this, so it's more on a regular basis, so you guys have advance notice. Cool. All right, Raymar. Thank you. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Johnny. Thanks everybody for joining. This was really, really fun. I hope you guys had a good time for our first interactive mixing session together, and we will continue on the next time. So until the next video and the next live stream, this has been Dave with homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and I will talk to you guys all soon. Check the archive. This will be there a bit later. Take care, guys. Thanks. I had fun.